What's another podcast? Welcome to an emergency podcast for the PHLY Eagles show, presented by Bet365 and True Mark. Welcome. It's brought to you by both of those people. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365 and visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and to apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender. You see Fran Duffy in the middle. You see Jamie Lynch on your right, our left, I guess. And now we know we are in for a Super Bowl rematch after the Kansas City Chiefs hold off and break the hearts of the Buffalo Bills once again in the AFC Championship game. The Eagles are going to have a chance, Fran, to finish the story and get some vengeance on Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. How you feeling about it?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a game that has been 2 years in the making. Obviously, a lot of bad taste in people's mouths, both, I would think, in the organization and obviously on the outside of the organization about how that game went down a couple of years ago. And now they got a chance to try and take it back. I think that when you look at the way that this team's built, it should be a really fun matchup here in a couple of weeks. We have a lot of time to talk about it, but there's certainly a lot to break down on both sides of the ball.
Jamie, I know that you have a lot to do to prepare for this game. I imagine that number one on that list is making sure that the Sodfather gets nowhere near New Orleans.
Oh, was it George Toma? Don't you step anywhere near that dome. Yeah, I'm still really butthurt about that and the call on Bradbury. Just an outrageous thing. But I was this thought washed over me on my drive home tonight. It took losing to the Patriots to beat the Patriots to get the first.
Okay.
We lost to the Chiefs.
I like that.
The revenge is going to be sweeter. The Eagles can only beat a team in the Super Bowl the second time around. So this is as good as a lock.
I like that.
Okay,
yeah. It's very interesting. And I think, Zach Berman does not want to relitigate Jonathan Gannon again, but we get this actual A/B test now as the Vic Fangio defense gets to go up against the greatest quarterback, perhaps of all time, Andy Reid. Steve Spagnuolo on the other side, a man who is absolutely going to be dialing up some fiendish things to try to confuse Jalen Hurts. It's going to be very interesting. Fran, what's your early sense here?
Look, I mean, this Kansas City Chiefs team, it's very possible that they were just playing possum all year. Obviously a little bit older in some spots. Travis Kelce, you get into the playoffs, and all of a sudden he looks like prime Travis Kelce again, right? And this defense starting to get healthier. They started getting some of that skill position talent back on the offensive side of the ball as well. They get Isaiah Pacheco back, and so I think when you look at this team, that they are rounding into form, the form that that they were accustomed to being at and what they were expecting to be for the majority of this season. And I think at the end of the day, the Eagles are certainly going to need to play their A game going up against the Chiefs. I know that they have not been operating at full tilt all year, but this team that's going to be going to the Superdome in a couple of weeks is certainly one that's capable of pulling off this three-peat.
Which matchup concerns you more? The Eagles offense going up against Steve Spagnuolo, or Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid getting 2 weeks to prepare for Uncle Vic?
I think the answer has to be Andy and Patrick Mahomes. It has to be just because it's two Hall of Famers, right? I think two future Hall of Famers. I think at the end of the day, yes, there are a lot of things that worry you about what Steve Spagnuolo can do to Jalen Hurts. But number one, I think that we saw some good things from the past game tonight. But then number two, you're just leaning on Saquon. Like, you feel good about that, right? If they're able to continue to do that against this Chiefs defense. And so I think at the end of the day, the bigger question is this going to become a shootout? Is Kansas City, can the Eagles get enough stops going up against this Eagles or against this Chiefs offense? It's reasonable to think that they can, just because of what this defense has done all year.
Now, Jamie, I have pulled up Bet365.
I already saw.
You saw it?
I already tweeted it out. Yes, I'm well aware of the line here, and
the line is Chiefs
3.5,
1.5. Chiefs minus.
It was -2 a minute ago.
Okay,
oh, really? I'm surprised you went as high as 3.5, Fran.
Yeah. Well, I actually thought the Eagles had a chance to be favored.
I was reading your guys' reactions. To me, like, I was reading it as like, oh,
you was going to be higher. Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't think that you can fairly favor a team going up against a team going for a three-peat for the first time in NFL history.
Yeah,
but 1.5 is interesting. I don't know. I feel tonight coming after this game, I think the Eagles feel good about anybody right now. I mean, nobody wants to play Patrick Mahomes, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was talking, my cousin's text chain is on fire right now. I really think the Eagles are the most complete.
The cousin's text chain.
Love it.
Oh, it's on fire. People are all excited. But I think the Eagles are the most complete roster in the NFL. I mean, you're talking about a number one defense. You're talking about a best offensive line. Saquon Barkley's having one of the most remarkable NFL seasons ever. When you put it all together, toe-to-toe, as Marlon Humphrey tweeted out earlier today, that's the best team we saw all year. This team is loaded. So, like, I don't know if I'm cocky and high off of the NFC Championship, but, like, bring it on. I think the revenge is going to be sweeter. I want to beat the best. I feel great right now about this.
I kind of like your Patriots Chiefs framing, Jamie, because it's different because this one is so fresh. But like, this team's already broke your heart. What are they going to do? Break it again? Like, yeah, you already know how that feels. Like, you've already been there. You know that you can recover. Let's give it another shot.
One of the things, Jalen Hurts, outside of a fumble, went toe-to-toe with, as somebody in the chat just called him, the baby goat. He played a near perfect game against the Chiefs last time. So Steve Spagnuolo is also going to have his hands full having to deal with this offense.
And he's out of the straitjacket.
He's out of the straitjacket now.
Yeah, he's out.
He's bouncing off those padded balls, ready for this game.
What a comment! What a weird comment.
Yeah, I feel like I don't even want to start trying to dive into that.
We're gonna have to deal with
that long 2 weeks
on tomorrow's show with Zack. We're not gonna go too long here, but a couple of things. I do think that nationally, there's going to be some fatigue here. I think like the country was definitely rooting for the Bills for sure, and would have been rooting for the Bills over the Eagles 49 states to 1. Now I feel like most people probably rooting for the Eagles, but with like less sort of like through gritted teeth, right?
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I already got a text from my Patriots buddy, and he was like, "I'm putting a mortgage payment on the Birds," and I was like, "Oh, just stay out of this. Like, I'd rather you just be neutral."
Fran, for Vic Fangio, what's going to be like item number one?
Yeah, I mean, number one is going to be, preventing the explosives from, what we saw from their speed. You look at Xavier Worthy in this game. He was able to come up with a number of chunk plays for this Chiefs offense. They do a good job of understanding, like, okay, we've got man-to-man. We're going to win on some of these shallow crossing routes. It's not necessarily the vertical passing game with this team. It's going to be more the underneath stuff that can create that yards after catch. And I think that's going to be the big thing with this Eagles defense is, you're not worried about Mahomes necessarily going over the top this year in this version of the offense. It's more getting the ball to Worthy, getting the ball to Hollywood Brown, getting the ball certainly to Travis Kelce, finding space, and then them turning it into a 25-yard gain. That's what the Eagles have to prevent. They've been so good at it all throughout the year. Their tackling in the secondary and the back seven has been so strong. They have not allowed a lot of air in coverage to leave guys wide open in the middle of the field. But they're going to need to do that against a coach that we know, like one of the best schemers in the history of the game, and what he can do to prey on your weaknesses as a defense. And so the Eagles defense is going to need to be bottled up. Everything, all your T's crossed, your I's dotted. Everything's got to be ready to roll here going up against this Chiefs offensive scheme. It's
interesting. Obviously, 2 years is a long time, but to have this rematch here now, and you just think about what's different in this matchup from that matchup. The Chiefs, offensively, pretty similar. I mean, Xavier Worthy adds a speed element, but like the structure of the offense is pretty similar. I would say their rushing attack is not quite as dynamic as it was then with Isaiah Pacheco. And you're talking about an Eagles defense that defensive line is probably about the same. Jalen Carter playing at a level probably higher than even Hassan Reddick was playing at then, if you're talking about the best guy. And certainly you feel better about the back seven this time around than last time. Now, that back seven was very good, and Bradbury and Slay were playing like Pro Bowlers as well. But I think the linebacking play is better, and you feel good about your boy, Q, Jamie, and Cooper DeJean in the nickel. And on the other side of the ball, the big difference is you got Saquon. And I mean, that game, Kenny Gainwell had surpassed Miles Sanders as the lead back. And so this is really like a thought experiment of, okay, you've got a different coordinator and you've got Saquon. And like, this is what you paid him for, right, Jamie?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing to save him for now. Use Saquon until he's gassed. This game, you can break it down 100 different ways, and you guys are going to do a great job doing that over the next 2 weeks. And everybody should become a diehard right now. We have a great special going on, but this is what it's going to come down to, because this is what every Chiefs game comes down to. Does Patrick Mahomes have the ball with under 2.5 minutes to go in a one-score game where they can go ahead? That's what it's going to come down to. Unless you're able to blow them out, which is probably unlikely, it's going to come down to, can you get a stop on Patrick Mahomes with the game on the line? It's what every Chief game comes down to.
And are you willing to have the cojones to go for it in a game in which every possession matters? And
you're no settling for field goals here, Bo. No cowards draws, none of it.
No punting,
the reason Doug was able to win, pedal to the metal. Let's go.
Let's get that Nick Sirianni Bud Light statue next to Doug's.
Dilly.
Nicky. I don't know what it'll be.
That would have worked back then too, though.
It was like a little Nicky thing. He just goes full Adam Sandler. I don't know. All right, that's it. We're just getting in and we're getting out for this quick reaction to the Eagles playing the Chiefs once again. For it all, we're gonna have you covered this week with our normal schedule of shows every day at 2:00. Probably a bonus episode there somewhere along the line in prime time as well. Fran's dropping his big draft guide tomorrow, just the beginning, the living document of it.
I can't wait.
You can become a diehard for very cheap now, and there's all good stuff now on the merch store. So check that out as well. And then, of course, we're going to be boots on the ground, just contenting it out of the wazoo from Nolans in 2 weeks. So looking forward.
Can I say I'm worried about Zach? Like, we got to make sure he gets sleep. We got to make sure
he's not going to get sleep.
We got to get him. We got to make sure he gets sleep.
He's not going to get sleep.
Can Emily slip him a melatonin with the kids? Here's a little gummy.
Maybe I should slip him a Mickey. Yeah.
Let's
see how that goes. All right. That'll do it for this emergency podcast. We will talk to you tomorrow at 2:00. Look forward to analyzing this matchup from all angles. Much to come here on PHLY. We will talk to you tomorrow. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.